So that way I can see what's going on. I did see Becky's comment that she's not going to be here, but let us know that she did get her card, so that's good. Okay, so I think everything's, my sound's off. I got the link up there. Yeah. Hey everybody. It's been not such a great week. So same usual nonsense, and I'm just to the point where if I don't find another job, I'm going to end up quitting, and I know that's not a good idea. So it's just always something else, every single day, and I'm over it. I'm so over it. So let's see. I saw Becky was here, but then she's going to watch the replay. And then, hold on. Never mind the gray hair. I'm still to the point I need to trim this hair. I need to color it. I've just been, it's just been, yeah. Becky and Sharon, Froggy, Tracy, and Yvonne. Yeah, she'll be here at some point. I don't know what time, but yeah, her hubby is going to drop her off, so he hadn't called her when she called me about 10 to. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll sign a wisdom. Ugh, it just makes me look older. And Yvonne, she was like, "Oh, I didn't see it. I don't notice it." And I'm like, "That's because I'm taller than you, and you don't see the top of my head." And then she said, "Well, when you're sitting down and I'm standing," and I'm like, "Then either one, you need to clean your contact lenses or your glasses because, yeah, it's got to get trimmed. It's got to get colored." I just, it's a process and it takes a while to do it. And last weekend, I think because of the week before, I mean, I was just, I don't know, it was just pretty much, it was a lay low weekend. I was here by myself. So, yeah, I mean, I just kind of like chilled out. And did I get anything done as far as what I'm doing tonight and what I did on yesterday? Yeah, not so much. But I did get everything done. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of chit chatting, which you guys are probably happy to hear that. Um, Let me go through what's going on. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Uh, who took advantage of this yesterday, the 15% off on the stamps and the tools? I I did. It was not, like any big order or anything like that. I basically got a couple more blocks. And what else I get? Another thing of Stampin' Spritz, and what else? I got a brayer, and I did order two of, two of the World Card Making Day kit. So what I'm planning on doing that day, I would have liked to have done an in-person thing, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen because that first Saturday, let's see, it's the day that I got to clean the church. Yvonne won't be able to make it because the beginning of October, her hubby's going to be having knee surgery. I think it's knee replacement. And so she's going to be there for him to help him out in any way. So yeah, with all that, I think what I am going to do though is I'm going to go live that night. I'm thinking probably at 6 o'clock since it's Saturday. So do it at 6 o'clock. And what I'll do is I'll put um the paper. Oh, Sharon. So did I. I did order those paper pumpkin dies. And actually, what did I get? I got another one of these. And what is this? Oh, this is E. So I did get one more of these. And then, what is this one? D. I got another one of these. So now I have 2 of those. I'll have 3 of these. And then for, what is this? C, B, and C. I have 3 right now. So I did get 1 more of each of those. So that way, hopefully I should have enough blocks when I'm stamping one project. But yeah, those paper pumpkin dies, I did add those to the order, so I did get those. My paper pumpkin kit, I think, for this month, I think was delivered today to the post office. So we'll see what happens come tomorrow, because tomorrow I will have to go out and, hey Deborah, and go to the post office to drop off all these cards. And there's going to be extra cards, guys. Um, yeah, and the other thing I have to do, so yeah, the whole week, basically since late Monday afternoon. Now, I don't think any of you guys would have been calling me. Don't know if Terry would have been sending me a text earlier, because she always texts me before I go live to ask me if I'm going live tonight. And so I don't know if she sent a text, but so what had happened, I'm on my daughter's cell phone account, and but I'm paying for it. And we were on T-Mobile, so she went with AT&T because it was going to be a lot cheaper. Well, the problem is that T-Mobile has my phone locked, so I can't do the eSIMs to change it over to AT&T. So I literally have to go down to the T-Mobile store, and I need to have them then contact customer service to get it unlocked. So basically this whole entire week, I really couldn't go nowhere, because if I went anywhere and I was gone for the whole day, well, yeah, I can't set the alarm. I can't disarm it. I can do it through a laptop, but everything works on Wi-Fi. The phone will work on Wi-Fi, but calls, text messages, yeah, I can't make them. People can't send them to me. I don't get them. And what else? Oh, yeah, if I had to drive from here down to Mississippi, and if something happened to my car, I wouldn't have a phone to like reach out to Geico to get, roadside assistance or anything. I'd basically be stranded. So, I mean, the plus part of it is I work from home the whole week, so I saved on gas. But yeah, so my phone, the only way people could call me is if they did it through Facebook Messenger. That's the only way people could call me. But hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna check to see what time they open up, and we're gonna make a trip down there, and I'm gonna get this phone unlocked so then I can get it set up with AT&T, and then I have a working phone again. So I don't have a house phone or anything, so this is it. This is really the only way, other than email, someone can get a hold of me. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I noticed I closed the blinds, but I didn't close the curtains. So, all right. So let me see. Okay, I was just seeing what in the comments what there is. So anyway, so other than that, that's pretty much all that's been happening around here. Nothing exciting or anything like that. Um, I'm just going to tell you guys, I just really need to get out of this funk, because it's not good. It's just not good. It's kind of depressing and just stressful, and I need to do something to get out of that. And I think that number one thing is going to be different job once I'm out of this one, because it's just more and more every day, and I'm to the point where I can't deal with it anymore. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But tonight, so the projects that I'm going to be making are with the Gathering Together suite. Now, I don't know if you noticed, if you already, well, you would have seen the thumbnail of the video, a picture of the cards, or if you looked in the description, or if you watched my Thursday, I kind of gave hint to it. Froggy, we are doing One Sheet Wonder tonight. And this idea about using this set for that, I've mentioned numerous times before that I follow Dina Rico, and I just happened to have watched her live from Monday. And the last card that she did, she had used this stamp set, and she didn't do a one sheet wonder, but she had the design of her card when she was laying down the different leaf images in different shades of green. I just looked at that and I thought, oh my gosh, I could do one sheet wonder with this. So that is what we're going to do now. This video is probably going to go a little bit long, so that's why I think I'm going to flip this and I'm going to get started sooner rather than later, because even though I did prep everything, especially with that one, with the stamping the whole piece of cardstock, it's going to take a little bit to do that. And of course, the other card that I'm doing, we're going to do a little bit of stitching. Now, I do have one already stitched up, but I'm going to kind of show you. It's pretty easy, but some people, when it comes to like sewing or stitching, that, you know, it's like, well, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to kind of show you kind of like how to start that and how to do that, and then I got one together. So yeah, and as a matter of fact, the first card that I'm going to be making is actually the card other than the linen thread on it. It's the card that I did the 10 cards for Becky, so I had made 5 of these particular cards. I think maybe the designer series paper is just a little bit different, but it is the card that, one of the cards that I had made for Becky, and for what do you call it, for the thing that she's doing for her friend. Okay, so let me just make sure I don't have more than what I need as far as like all these notes things and all that. I think that's all I need. We get rid of that. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me flip this. Let me kind of move this light out of the way, because I think what's going to happen is it's going to hit it. No, it won't hit it. All right, let me bring this down and kind of get everything lined up. Make sure that this is in there straight. Okay. And then I do have, what do you call it, the the link up at the top. You guys already found it, for adding your name to that spreadsheet. So tonight, instead of 3 cards being given away, there's going to be a total of 6, because that one sheet wonder is going, we're going to be creating 4 cards out of that. Now, one sheet wonder is one of those techniques where you can do it a couple of different ways. And I'm basically going to do it the same way that I had done that video in July of last year. But yeah, there's different ways that you can do it. Okay, so let me kind of like explain a couple of things that's happening. So this is going to be available, the ordering for this is going to begin next week on the 23rd. And so what Stampin' Up! Is doing, this is something new. They've never done this before. They're going to have a 12 days of crafting advent calendar. And so with this, you're going to have this box that has all these little like windows, I guess you can say, that are in them. And then like each day you'll open it up, and then there's going to be product in there. So it's going to be product. It's not going to be, say, like holiday themed, but it'll be something that you can use to create, year round. Now, there will be like two sheets of photopolymer stamps with this. One has some images, the other has like greetings on it. These are products that you'll never see them in a catalog. You won't see them, in online exclusive. So it's just product that's exclusive to this Advent calendar. And so in this, I don't have the other paper, but if I remember right on what they were saying on another flyer, is that there'll be like it say embellishments. There could be well, they mentioned like embossing folder or dies or whatever, and I'm just kind of like looking at the size of these things, and it's like, okay, have to be a pretty small embossing folder. I'm just kind of like looking at these, but again, it's going to be a whole bunch of different products that are going to be in this calendar, and basically you can use it year round. And with this, the item number for this is 167335. So that number is not going to be good until the 23rd. Now here in the US, the price of this is $99. They did say that there is a limited number of these. They never say how many that would be, but yeah, they had suggestions on here, not only buying one for yourself, but you can gift one to a friend as well. Again, this may be something very popular. It could sell out pretty fast. Again, they never mention how many they're going to have on hand. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, yeah, I don't have a link for it in the description, only because I wouldn't have a valid link to this, not until it becomes available on the 23rd, but you would definitely see it on the Stampin' Up website. Then they are doing a craft class. And this is both, it's not just for demonstrators, this is also for customers as well. And for this, they're using the traditions of Christmas sweet products. So for this class, on here they didn't have it. It's going to happen on October 23rd at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, or you'll be able to view it later. There's like a gnat or something that just flew by. Okay. But anyway, so the cost of the class, the item number for the class itself is 170073. This is going to be available to purchase on October 1st. In the US, the cost of the class is going to be $30. In Canada, it's 41. Now, this does not include any of the product. If you want to follow along, and create the projects as well, um, you would, if you want to. I mean, again, you can use whatever product that you want. They're going to be using that Traditions of Christmas Suite collection, so they did provide the number for that. So the price, the $30, is definitely not including anything that is in that suite. So again, this is going to be available to purchase on October 1st. So it's almost like what they did, that what was it, um, the scrapbooking retreat thing that they had done. Something similar along those lines, but this is only going to be like one day, where that was on a span, I think, of like 3 days and many more hours. So I'm thinking about it. We'll see what happens. And again, by registering, you will be able to go back and view it later on demand. Then now we're got like our little sneak peeks of the upcoming paper pumpkin kits for October, November, and December. Um, both October and November are going to be Christmas themed. So, what is it? October is going to be Christmas cards. And then November is going to be goodie boxes that can hold gift cards and small treats. And then when it comes to December, now we know it's not going to be Christmas themed. Um, Watercolor in bloom. So it doesn't say. I'm guessing it's cards. It's not quite, yeah, 9 cards. Yeah, you're making 9 cards on that. So, and then here are those new dies as well. And again, like I said, I did order those yesterday. And so when the next kit comes in October, then I will show them then. Okay, and then again, I made mention of World Card Making Day. The link to register for this is in the description. Basically, it's a free event. It's for everybody. You do want to register because that way you will get the link to the event sent to you to where you can also then watch it at a later time. And I believe there's also like a Facebook group, I think, or maybe I'm getting confused with that card class. But you do want to register because Stampin' Up! Did say that there would be a gift for everybody who registers. And I'm thinking it could be what they had done, was it last year or the year before, that they gave everyone who registered, I think it was like a $5 coupon that can be used towards, um, a future order. So, yeah, so the registration on this is going to end, I believe, the day before, like on October 3rd. So there is a link in the description again that will take you to the page to register. So let me get that out of the way. I will mention that the PDF for the cards, the cards that I'm going to be making tonight, it's all done. The link here is the link to this video. It's already out there on the Google Drive. So that last little paragraph right above the list of supplies, that's the link that will take you there to access all the PDFs that I have. They go all the way back to January 26th of 24, I want to say. So there are a lot of these out there. And what's really nice is that they link back to the video in which I use the product. So when it comes to doing the one sheet wonder, you may want, I did kind of notate it in here that kind of like, watch the video to kind of like see how I stamped everything. So this is out there if you would like it. Again, it's free. I started doing these like when I was going to offer card kits, with orders, but that wasn't really working. So I thought, okay, I already started doing these. I was going to continue on. So I'm just offering them now, like for everybody. Okay, so gathering together suite. So let me show you what is part of this suite. So the designer series paper, this is gathering together. It's a specialty designer series paper because it does have some champagne foil in the designs. Basic beige, Cajun Craze, crushed curry, early espresso, old olive are the colors that are in here. And so a lot of pretty patterns of leaves. And so we got leaves, and we got some nice prints and some plaid, and some that are like the same patterns, but like they're different like colors of the leaves. And then you got some stripes in here too, and then more. So really like this paper, so I definitely need to get myself another pack of this paper during pre-order. I just got the one. But yeah, all this fall paper, I need to have more than one pack. Okay, and then what else is in this suite? We have the Gathering Moments bundle. So again, this is a cling stamp set. You have some really nice greetings, many thanks. Your friendship means the world to me. Gather, thankful for you, expressing heartfelt gratitude. And then you have what looks like your like watercolor type images of leaves. You got a little mushroom and an acorn in there, and then you got some um, other designed images there that you can use like in the background or such. Now the dies, what's really cool about these, I mean, it's very deceiving. Look at the size of these leaves. I mean, they're huge. So you have your outline of your leaf, and then there is this insert that you can put in there where it'll die cut all the little holes if you want to do some stitching. So we're going to do that on the second card. And yeah, I really like the idea that they have done this because the first craft that I got into doing, like after I graduated high school, was counted cross stitch. And so I hadn't done it in a long while because I started doing this, and I have decided to get back into it. Now I haven't done any stitching in a bit, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I enjoy doing. I love the outcome of them. I now have every single color of the DMC floss. I just have about 100 of them that I still have to wind on their bobbins, but yeah, we do have like a local cross stitch store here that I have not been in yet, but I'm looking really forward to going in there and spending a few hours just oohing and eyeing over everything. But I really like the idea that they incorporated these dies where you can do some stitching on it. And I noticed it's something that I think Honeybee has really got into, and I think even Spellbinders, I believe, have gotten into doing the dies where you can do the stitching. So pretty stoked about that. So I'm liking that. Also, there is some linen thread, early espresso and old olive. So really like these. So definitely need to get another pack of these because if I'm going to do the stitching, like I'm going to do on one of the cards, I am going to like run out of that. Also, the embellishments. These are the Cajun Craze and gold dots, and very very pretty. They do have a little bit of a lift on them. They're not really soft, so you would definitely need some kind of like cardstock or postcard or something to put in the envelope on the top of your card just to kind of protect that envelope. Without it, it's like when they go through the postal machine, these will kind of rip through the envelope. And then what I have it stored in, this is it's a passport holder. So I know someone had asked about it last Friday, and on that video, I did go back and I did add the link to Amazon where I got them. And I also got the link for them in this description of this video as well, if you would like these. So they're nice, they're heavy duty. Like I said, I took the outer wrapping off of it, and if we had embellishments that were a little bit wider, I just kind of like trimmed them down a little bit so then that way they would fit in here. But I do like storing those carded embellishments on that. And then one other thing that's part of this suite is the Gathering Leaves embossing folder. So again, you look online, it looks a little deceiving. You would think that it's a regular sized embossing folder, but it's not. It is one of the larger, what is it, 6 by 8.5 inches. Now, I will say that they don't have this listed as a 3D embossing folder. But I don't know if it's the fact that maybe my cutting plates were a little warped but I don't know. I'm looking at this, it just seems like it's a little bit thicker. And I can tell you when I tried to run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with just the cutting plates and the base plate, it was not budging. It was not going through. But when I just used the base plate, and then I think, what's that, the number 4 gray plate that you would use for 3D embossing folders, it went through fine and it embossed fine. So I don't, yeah, I didn't see anything that states that it's actually 3D, but I'm just putting that out there that that was the experience I had the first time I went to use it. Okay, so now let me kind of move that. Let me get the stuff now for the first card. And let me get my little PDF here, and so that way I can follow along. And all my dimensions are on there. Now, again, this is the card that when I did the cards for Becky, I did 2 different designs, 5 cards each. And this one, the only thing that I really changed up on it was the designer series paper that I used, and the linen thread that I used for the little bow on it. So, but yeah, that's really the only difference, other than like the cardstock, instead of using white, I had used basic beige. Okay, so for my card base, it's Early Espresso, measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. There's a 5.25 by 4-inch piece of basic white. Excuse me, this will be for the inside. I have a piece of Cajun Craze. This measures 5.5 by 2, and then ahead of time I did emboss it using the Gathering Leaves embossing folder. Then I have a piece of crushed curry. This is 3 7/8 by 2 3/8. And then this scrap piece of the designer series paper, I had used the textured notes dies. Which one was it? It was this one right here that I used to die cut this out. And then I also used this die right here, and I had stamped ahead of time because this is cling. If it was photopolymer, I would have stamped it right on here, but to get it straight, the Thankful for You, I stamped that in Early Espresso ink on basic white, and then I die cut it using this die right here. Okay, so now let's get this all put together. So we'll fold and burnish this. Okay. And then I'm going to take my seal and I'm going to place this inside. Deborah, this paper is awesome. I don't think you'll have any problem finding what to do with it. I mean, the one thing I will say, well, I would say that this would inspire me. Just how Ohio gets, you know, with fall and everything changing color and all that. I think that would definitely inspire me on using it. But yeah, I really do like this paper. I've been using a lot of the images that have like these leaves and the mushrooms and stuff on it. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing a lot of fall cards, if I have time to do them, that is. So yeah, I definitely like this paper. Now next Friday, we're going to be using that other fall suite. What is it? Autumn Toile. We're going to be using that next Friday. So I'm kind of looking forward to creating the projects for that one as well. Okay, so I'm going to add some liquid glue. This is the Tombow multi-purpose glue. I just have it in one of these fine tip glue bottles. Again, this glue has a latex in it, so you don't need a whole lot for it to stick. And then I'm going to place this right over here. Kind of make sure it's straight. Okay. And press that down. Is this doing a lot of focusing in and out? Do I need to move it up just a little bit? I'm really not paying attention to what's on the video. All right. All right, so now I'm going to take my designer series paper and I'm going to center that on here. So, and then we'll get, I'll use my seal on this. Let's see, which way do I want to put? I'm going to put it this way. Okay, so then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this right about there. And then I'm going to take some of my seal. I'm going to add a little bit right there. And then I'm going to bring in my linen thread. And on this one, I'm going to use the old olive. On those other cards I did, like I said, this was used a pattern similar to this that has the basic beige in the background. And so I had used the early Espresso linen thread on that one. So just changed it up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to make a bow. I really like when they come out with the colored linen threads. Okay, come on. Get in there. I haven't seen Terry. Made mention that I don't know if she went to send me a text message asking about if I was going live or not. But I haven't seen her come on. All right. I'll trim that. And then I'm going to take this, now where I put that adhesive, I'm going to add that right there. And then on my greeting, I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And since I have that knot on there, I'm just going to put one on either end. Okay. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to add this right over this like so. So make sure that's straight before I press it down. Okay. Then I'll just trim this a little bit more. And then our last bit to put on here, we're going to add some of these Cajun Craze and gold dots. Get my take your pick tool. And with these, you get 3 different sizes on this one. So we'll take large and a medium, and then a small one we'll place right up there. Okay, let me get that out of the way, and there is the first card. Now, in the PDF, I don't know what it is. There are just some of these Stampin' Up! Colors as far as cardstock and paper goes that I don't know what it is when it comes to photographing them, but for some reason, my early Espresso wasn't like photographing very well. But, I mean, it was making it a little bit lighter than it should be. Usually like some of the blues, it does the same thing, but I really do like how this card came out. And then the inside, we could have stamped something in there, but I just left it blank. So there is the first card. And now our second one is the one that is going to have some of the stitching on it. So let me kind of get some stuff out of the way here. So we can flip the paper. Now this card, so the first one that I made, it was a case off of a card that Amy Cougars had done. She used a lot more designer series paper, so like on this part right here that she did, she used paper here. She covered the top of the card front with designer series paper. I decided to leave this, you know, plain, and then take the cardstock instead, and then use the embossing folder on it. This particular card, if you go to the website and you bring up the whole suite, it's one in the picture that they have with some sample projects in there. That's where I had found this one. And so again, I kind of changed it up just a little bit from what they did. And so let me put that aside for a moment and get this out of the way. Okay, so Basic Beige. I'm really liking Basic Beige lately. It's definitely different than Very Vanilla, but I'm really like using Beige. So for the card base, it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have another piece of Basic Beige, 5.25 by 4. Emboss this using that Gathering Leaves embossing folder. The designer series paper. This pattern, actually, I think this was the pattern I used in those cards for Becky. This measures 3.25 by 1. Out of the set of dies that go with this bundle, I had die cut 2 of these leaves out of Cajun Craze. And then the greeting that's stamped in Early Espresso on Very Vanilla. And then I use I'm using these all the time. I don't know what I'm going to do if they ever retire these. The Stylish Shapes dies. So this larger banner right here, went ahead and stamped and die cut that ahead of time. And then again, there's the outline of the oak leaf, and I had that little insert in there, so then that way it die cut all those little holes in there. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. Okay, and then we're going to do a little bit of distressing. Now, hold on one second here. I got a fan going, and I just want to turn that off when I go to do this next step, because yeah, I'll have like little fibers of paper like blowing in my face, and we don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to take my snips, and I got my my collapsible trash bin here, and I'm going to take the edge of my what do you call them, my scissors, and I'm going to kind of rough up the edges of my cardstock. So I'm going to kind of do this off to the side, because where I got the phone, this is going to be like way too close, and it's just going to kind of freak out and kind of focus in and out. And I mean, I already got fibers kind of like flying around. I can imagine if that fan was still on. Okay. Just rough it up. Take my aggression out on the edge of my cardstock. If I did that, this thing would be all tore up. Okay, and then I think we got just this one more side. All right, so I think we're good on roughing up our cardstock here. And now I got fibers blown all over the place. Let's turn that fan on. All right, so now let me take these and put these aside. All right, so now our edges are all roughed up. I think what I'm going to do, it's a little bit different than my card sample. I got a blending brush, and I also have some crumb cake ink. Well, do I want crumb cake? Yeah, let's use crumb cake. And I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I'm just going to do the edges just a little bit. I didn't do this on my sample card, and I don't think they did this on the card sample. At least I don't think it looked like it. They did that, so just change it up just a tiny bit. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to set this aside because we're going to use that again here in a second. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere this down to my card base. I want to make sure that my leaves are pointing up. Okay, move those out of the way. And we'll center that like so. Okay, and I'm going to set that aside. I want to bring in some scrap paper. So what I do with that paper from the sale that's no more. Okay, so I am going to take my die cut leaf here, and I'm going to add some crumb cake to the edges of it. Now this part you can stitch it first and then add the ink, or you can add the ink first and then do the stitching. Now this one, again, I'm just going to kind of start off on stitching it. I'm not going to stitch this whole thing because it did take a little bit to do. I mean, we're gonna be here for a little bit, especially with the last grouping of the cards. Maybe it won't be so bad. I know that when I was designing them and I was creating them, it was taking a little bit, but that was kind of like starting from scratch and nothing was really prepped, and it was just a matter of also figuring out how I was going to lay down those stamped images too. So, all right, so I'm adding, I think we're good. I'm using one of the larger blending brushes. Okay, so then I'm going to take this, I'll set this aside. We're going to stitch on that. What I want to do, I'm going to close this up. I want to take these two Cajun Craze pieces. I want to get in my stamp set. Now there's this little design image right in here. I'm going to take that one, and we're going to stamp over these leaves using Cajun Craze ink. All right, where's Cajun Craze? Okay, so let's get a block. All right, so I'm going to ink this up. And Stamp right on top, like so. Okay, put that aside, and then I have one of my smaller blending brushes, and I'll ink this up, and then I'm going to add some ink on the edges of this. Okay. You can also do this with sponge daubers if you want. Okay, so let me move those and close this up. Okay, so I'm going to move those, and we got all that. So let me bring this in and show you this stitching part. So I have added a link to something on the through Amazon for large eyed needles. So some of these are a little bit thick because these holes are a little bit smaller. I'm going to use one of these. So I want something that's not too big. So something like this would be really big, and it would kind of make your holes bigger and tear it. This one, I mean, it does go through and it doesn't do too much damage or anything, but I did link to these large eyed needles. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my early espresso, and I'll bring in about that much. Okay, and we'll thread this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start first hole on the bottom, and then on the back, instead of using like tape to hold it down, I'm just going to kind of hold it in the back here, and as I stitch over, it's going to kind of hold this this loose piece in the back here down. So I'm going to go through this hole. So all this is back stitching. Okay, come on. So just following these die cut holes. And then I'm going to come up here, and then I'll go here. And then what I do also, and it kind of saves a little bit on the linen thread, I kind of skip. So what I'll do is I come down here, then I'll come up, come up through here. So I kind of skipped, come down here, come up and come back in to kind of finish that line. So that's what that looks like. We got somebody new with us? Deborah, Ruggy. Oh, wait. Oh, that's awesome, Carol. Not a problem. That's what replays are for. Okay, so let's keep going. So again, I'll come up here, and I'll kind of come down And I'll go up. I'm not going to do this whole thing. I'm just doing a little bit here just to kind of give you an idea on how to stitch these. And all of you here probably know. I mean, this is simple. This type of stitch is simple enough. Okay. And go down here. And then I'll come back here and kind of fill this little spot in. And then come back up. Okay, and so the back of this, you can kind of see, well, I should have had this held a little bit where I can probably get this tucked under. So by stitching over it, it's going to hold it down. And then when you do your last stitch, you're just basically going to take your needle and kind of go through a couple little areas, and then that's going to hold the end of your thread down. So you would do, you would connect all of those dots together. Okay, but like I said, I did do one ahead of time, so we have this one here, and I did not add any of the crumb cake ink to it. So again, you can do this before you stitch it. You can also do it afterwards as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the edges, and I'm not so worried if I end up getting some of this ink on the linen thread, because the linen thread is much darker than the ink. Okay, close that up. All right, we'll get that out of the way. Now let's do some assembling here. So I'm going to take my designer series paper piece. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of that. On the back of my stitched leaf, you can see this is kind of like what the back looks like. When I got up to the top, I just basically ran it through to end that thread. So I didn't need to use like any scotch tape to hold it on the back. For this, I'm going to use my dimensionals, and we'll add some on here. Okay, so let's add here, and we'll add one right there. All right, so what I want to do now, my designer series paper is going to kind of be like hidden behind my leaf. So what I want to do is I want to kind of take my leaf and see where it is that I'm going to place it. And then I'm going to put my designer series paper down. Oops, it's stuck to my finger. Press that down. And then my leaf, I will put right over the top like so. And then I'm going to take my little Cajun Craze leaves here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one dimensional right in here, because I'm going to put one of these leaves right on top of it. And I want to add a little bit of liquid glue, just like kind of like on the top. and on the bottom. And try not to put my finger in it. And I'm going to add this leaf right here. And then one right up here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my old olive linen thread, do a bow. Okay, and then we'll trim that. And let me get a glue dot. All right, and okay, and then I take this, I'll stick this right down here, and then I'm going to take, let's see, my greeting piece here. I am going to add, let's see, we have to lift it up just a little bit, like on this end. And then let me see on this other end. May need another one because this this crumb cake leaf is popped up. This kind of hangs over either edge, and so want this to kind of like lay flat. And then I'll add a little bit of seal right there, and then I'll come in with this, and I'll place this down right there. And then let's get our embellishments. This is the last part that we need for this card. So where are they? Take a pick tool. And again, I'm going to use one of each size on this. Let's see, got one there, and then a smaller one we'll put right up there. Okay, so there's our second one. We're not doing too bad. The one with a lot of work to it is what we're doing last. We're going to be doing One Sheet Wonder. So there's our second card. So we're going to have extra cards to give away tonight. All right, so One Sheet Wonder. So back in July of last year, one of the things that, as far as video series that I do monthly Christmas card inspiration videos. And I'll take, you know, whether it's a stamp set, a bundle, suite, whatever it be, I do fairly simple, duplicatable Christmas cards that will give you some inspiration, you know, throughout the year if you want to create your Christmas cards throughout the year. And I decided, it's like, okay, the particular stamp set that I grabbed, it was almost in a way similar. It didn't have any greetings, but it did have like a lot of like leaf and berry images, and I think it even had a pine cone in it. And so this is one way of, when it comes to One Sheet Wonder, it's one of the ways you can do it. There's, yeah, I mean, you can stamp an entire piece of cardstock and then cut it down in maybe smaller pieces and different shapes. So there's a couple of ways you can do it, and this is the way I had done this particular one. Just bear with me. I want to tidy up just a little bit because There is a lot of stuff sitting up here. Scissors, we don't need these right now. Okay, so I did print out, I actually photocopied what I had done, so I knew, so I can remember, you know, how did I lay this out. Okay, so for this one, I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock. This is an 8.5 by 11, but I have cut it down to, I think it was 10.5 by 8. And so what we're going to do with this, now I have a pencil, okay, and I have a T-ruler. A T-ruler is definitely one of those little tools that you, that works great in your stash if you want to have like a straight line. Yep, you can do that too, Froggy. Froggy said that you can also use your scoreboard to mark the middle off on the edges of your cardstock too, to know where the middle is. But what I'm going to do on here, and this is how I did it the last time, so I want to find where the middle is here. So it's 10.5. I want 5.25, so I'm going to add just a little line there. Now I'm not going to go dark with my pencil. I am going to be, after I stamp, I am able to erase the lines where you don't see it. So again, you don't want to, oh, Yvonne's here. And so I'm just going to lightly create my line like that. And then we want 4 inches right there. And right there. And then, yeah, so there's a couple ways that you can do this. Again, what's going to happen after we stamp our images, kind of like following these lines, I'll erase these lines, and then I'm going to cut it on those lines as well. So I have 4 equal sized pieces that will be part of my card fronts. Okay, so let me, I think I'm just going to use this grid paper. I did get more. I did buy some more when it was the tax-free weekend. So this was, a grid paper was another option that you can get the 15% off on. Okay, so what do I need? I need my stamps. So for this one, I am going to use, let's see, I'm going to use this leaf here and these little berries and the acorn. Yeah, that's all I used on here. And again, you can add a couple of the other leaves if you want as well. Berries, the acorn, and I think that was it. Okay, so let me get some blocks here. We got our acorn. I like acorns. And then we have our berries. Okay. And then we have our leaf, which I may use a larger block for this one. Okay, so now the colors of ink that I'm going to use on this. So I'm going to bring in Cajun Craze, also Old Olive, Crushed Curry, and Timid Tiger. Oh, and Early Espresso too. Don must have forgot something. He rang the doorbell. Okay. All right. So now what I want to start off with is my Timid Tiger. Now, if your ink pads are really inky, let me bring in my Stampin' Scrub, because I'm going to need to clean, especially this larger leaf. I'm going to have to clean that because I'm going to do that leaf in like 3 different colors. But I'm going to use my Stampin' Scrub here just to kind of clean off that ink off of the back of the spoon, because I may need it to press the ink in on some other colors. Okay, so to get the detail, you don't want your ink pad to be very, very inky. So I am going to take my leaves and I'm going to stamp. I want to kind of go over the middle, so then that way I have some of the leaf on both sides of that line. And there's going to be some overlapping, so that's okay. And these pencil lines will erase even though you've stamped over them. Okay, and then let's see, I'm going to take this also and I'm going to stamp kind of like over in this corner. And I'm going to stamp one and this one. Turn my stamp, and then I'll stamp over there. And then stamp another one right over here. Okay, so that's Timid Tiger. Okay, and then I want Crushed Curry. Again, need to press this ink in. I did this when I made these cards. I had done this and I had my ink pad stored upside down like this, but for some reason it seems like the ink has come to the surface even though I had it stored upside down. Everybody's saying hello. I think she's using the facilities. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the leaf again. And stamp right next to my Timid Tiger leaves. Okay, and then we're going to add some over here in these corners. Okay, and go down here. And one right there. So we'll clean our stamp again. Okay, and we'll close this up. And then we're going to bring in Old Olive. Okay. Press that in there. Okay. And then we're going to take Old Olive and we're going to stamp, kind of just finish off our lines here. Now, when I did my first sample, I stamped like one leaf on this side and one on this side of the line, and it just looked a little too busy. So after it's cut, it's going to kind of seem like maybe there's not enough, but if you kind of double it up, it's going to look like there's too much. Okay, so then, let's see. You got a little more extra space there. When I did my sample, I didn't have them really overlapping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Timid Tiger again. And I'm going to kind of add a little bit to the very ends here. Okay, we'll add one there. It's kind of like an interesting color combination having the Timid Tiger over the Old Olive, but it kind of works. Okay, so we have our lines kind of covered up here. Okay, so we're done with that stamp. All right, now I'm going to take my Cajun Craze. And I think this is probably going to be okay, this one. Because we don't want the ink to be too much, because then you won't see the detail from the stamped image. And we don't want it to be like, you know, like, wow, you know, that's like the, looks like that's like the more predominant color in here. So the way I put the stamp on here, I didn't put the labels on the back of it. I know that the bottom edge here is where the base of that berry is going to be. So I'm going to take this and start filling in. So like in the corners here. Well, this is not really the corner, is it? Well, I guess it's kind of sort of the corner, but it's more like the center. I'm going to stamp this. Okay. And then we're going to kind of come in and fill in some spots. Let's see here. I think I just kind of went in between. Okay, so that's the bottom. Okay, so we got here. All right, and let's see, where else do we got some more? Got quite a few of these in here. All right, and now we got this panel and that row. So it's nice you stamp this whole thing and then cut it up, and you got 4 cards out of this. And again, you can stamp it in different ways also, and then cut your pieces like in different shapes if you want. So there's a few different ways you can do this technique. And these type of stamps are perfect for doing a technique like this. All right, so we got that, there. Okay, so we have all that. All right, and then we're going to bring in early espresso, and I'm going to do my acorns. I really like how these acorns come out. Let's see. Let's add that there. So we're going to add one each of these corners. And then on the very ends. Right. I'll add and then in here we got got down at the bottom here. Okay, so I think we have everything here. So we have our piece. I've inspired Yvonne. Okay, so now that we got this stamped, again, like Froggy had mentioned too. Wow, I'm really like all wonky out of the screen, aren't I? Straight. Okay. So you can use your scoreboard and you can like score like just little tick marks where your center would be. Or if you use a pencil, do a very, very light line. And see, I can come right in and I can remove that pencil line. It'll erase, right, even though I stamped over it, it'll erase. And even though these are technically like you're going to be cutting on these lines too, I still like to remove them. Okay. So I think we got all of them. All right. So we got that. Now, let me go get my paper trimmer. So I have this old relic, this guillotine paper trimmer. This I use primarily when I'm cutting cardstock, and even when I do the designer series paper. That other paper trimmer, some of like your really small pieces of designer series paper, I would cut on that. It's a little bit easier, and I do a lot of my scoring of my cardstock on that too. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to cut this down into 4 panels. Now ahead of time, I did cut it down to where this will, when I cut this, it's going to be the size of the card front panel that I want, so I don't have to trim anything additional off any of the edges. So with this, because this is 10.5, I want to cut it at 5 1/4. And then being that it's 8, I want to then cut it at 4. So I have these panels right here. And what's nice about this that, and I'll be doing that with these cards as well. I'll be creating 2 of them that are landscaped and 2 of them that will be vertical. All right, so let me get this out of the way. Wow, what happened to your buddy? I haven't seen your buddy on. Of course, I couldn't get a text message from her. All right, so now that I have my 4 panels, I also have cut ahead of time. Of course, let me kind of get these out of the way. I have my card bases, so I have Old Olive. So I have 4 pieces here. So basically you get 2 card bases out of 1 sheet. So it's scored at 4 1/4, and so 8.5 by 4 1/4. No, wait, 5.5. 5.5. Okay, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Final answer. So I have my card bases, and then I do have my panels here. That this is going to my stamped in panel is gonna be matted onto that. So I have 4 pieces of early espresso. And then ahead of time, I had stamped, again, because this is a cling stamp set and I can't see where I'm stamping. I didn't want to stamp directly on here because after doing all this, if it was crooked or if there was too much ink on the edge of the stamp, then I just messed up my whole panel. So I did this ahead of time. So I have used the 4 different greetings that are in the stamp set. And then I use the traditional labels set of dies. This is new from, I think, whew, is this the holiday mini catalog or is this online exclusive? There was so much stuff I don't remember, but yeah, it's in either the mini catalog or the online exclusives. So one of them, I stamped the Expressing Heartfelt Gratitude in Early Espresso and used one of those dies. And these are pretty interesting dies because it is connected here, but it does kind of like cut the edging a little bit. So that's pretty cool. So we got that one. Then this one is out of Old Olive. Your friendship means the world to me. So it's really cool that these set of dies have different shapes and styles and some stitching and things like that on it. The Many Thanks is in Timid Tiger. And then the Thankful for You is in Cajun Craze. So we have those. So now what I'm going to do, let me set the card bases aside. So on my pieces here, I'm going to determine how I want to lay out my my card panels. So let me take a peek at the cards that I made so I know which one is which. Okay, so let's see. So this one is going to be horizontal, and this one will be horizontal, and then vertical and vertical. Okay, so let me adhere these down. Okay. So there's just going to be a little bit of a border of that early espresso. And so for this panel, I'm going to use the Expressing Heartfelt Gratitude. So I'm just going to set that aside. Okay. I even thought about bringing in like a purple color in here too. One of the colors that would have been great would have been rich raspberry, but we don't have that color anymore. Okay, so we have those two. And okay, and then this one will have many thanks. And then, man, I just love fall. I just wish it would start feeling like it down here. Okay. And was today the first day of fall? I think Yvonne had said something earlier, or is it tomorrow? I thought it was like the 20th or the 21st. I don't know. I didn't really check ahead of time, did I? Okay, so now that we got those, I'm going to take my card bases and fold and burnish those. So if you need a quick stash of cards, this is definitely the way you can get at least 4 cards at a time. I think the part that takes the most amount of time is the actual, stamping that piece of cardstock. Tomorrow or Sunday. I know it's usually around the 20th, 21st. I just wish it would start feeling like fall down here. I mean, we did actually get some rain earlier today. Not as much as I would have liked, but this morning it was a bit breezy, and this morning I went and took out my garbage, and it actually felt pretty good out there. I like the breeze, the leaves blowing everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to take my panels, and I'm going to adhere those to my card bases. Okay. And put that down. And then the thankful for you, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. And I'll pop that up and just put this right in the center, like so. Okay, set that aside. Next one. And humid, yuck. I don't like humidity. Ugh. Just give me fall. Give me fall. Okay, so there's that one. And then we got our many thanks. So let's add some dimensionals on this. We're going about the same amount of time as most of the lives go, but not too bad considering all the cards that we're making. Okay, so there's the many thanks. And then now we got our horizontal cards. So again, the way that this is stamped, you can have these panels all horizontal, you can do vertical, whatever your preference is. Okay, and then our friendship. Oh, and last night I was watching Barb Mulligan's live, and she hit her $1 million in sales. So happy for her. So between her, Kelly, and Dina, now they all three of them have hit their at least their $1 million in sales. So pretty stoked for her. Okay, so there's that one. Okay. And then our final one here. So if you haven't already done so, add your name. The link is to the spreadsheet up pinned up at the top of the chat box. If you would like to be in the drawing for one of tonight's 6 cards. Double the amount of cards we're giving away tonight. All right, and if you have any problems at all, just say something in the chat box and someone will be more than happy to add your name on that spreadsheet for you. Okay, so now we got all of that down. So now we're going to do some embellishing. So I am going to bring in my linen thread. We're going to make some bows for our cards. So I'm going to do 2 in early espresso and 2 in my old olive. Okay. Okay. Get my scissors. May have to trim those down a little bit more. Alright, and then let's get our old olive ones. Okay, and 2 of these. Missed the garbage. Missed the garbage bin. Yeah, so when we go to do the drawing, when it comes to these 4 cards, yeah, just basically say what greeting. That'll be the easiest way to figure out which card is which. Okay, so now we got our bows. I could send it by airmail through the rooms. Yeah, that would be quite a bit of a flick, considering she's all the way on one end and I'm on the other end of the apartment. Okay, so I want my glue dots. And let's put our cards down. I'm almost done with this roll. Okay, so early espresso. You kind of want to be in the view of the camera. Okay, so we're going to put one down on the many thanks. Okay, that'll be okay. Let's trim that a little bit. Okay. Okay, not on my finger. Of course, now it's stuck on my finger. Okay. This other one will go right here on that corner. So that'll be okay. Okay, so then this one is going to go right here. And then our last one. Okay, and then that will go right there. Okay, so now we just have to add our embellishments. Bring that in. Take your pick tool. Okay. So our many thanks. Okay, so there's the many thanks. And then let's see, thankful for you. Okay, so there's thankful for you. Then your friendship means the world to me. And then finally, expressing heartfelt gratitude. Okay, get out of the way. And there's the last one. So let me bring in our 4 cards. So one sheet wonder, stamp one whole sheet and then cut it down to 4 panels to create our card fronts. All right, so this is what I did so I can kind of follow along. I stamped the card that I did for the samples, and then I scanned it and photocopied so I would know and remember where I had actually stamped all those images. So let me bring in everything that was done. Kind of get some of the stuff out of the way. So again, gonna have 6 cards that were given away tonight. And again, the PDF, like I said, the little paragraph right above the list of supplies will have the link to the Google Drive to download this. And then there is a link that'll take you back to this video. And again, I have all the pictures so you can see what all the cards look like, and then as far as dimensions and things like that. So again, this is free out there on the Google Drive, so the link is in the description. Okay, so we have our 4 cards that we did with the one sheet wonder technique. Again, one sheet wonder can be done in different ways, and the cardstock can be cut in different shapes and pieces and sizes and all that. This is just basically doing like that quadrant where you're stamping along uh, the center parts of the cardstock, and that way you got your image on both sides of that line. So there's those cards. Our second card that we did a little bit of stitching using that one die insert that would create the little holes in the leaf. And again, I kind of showed how to do the stitching on that. It really didn't take long to stitch the whole thing up. But I did want to save some time because I knew these would take a while. So added a little bit of distressing on that distressed piece of the embossed basic beige. So I really like how this one came out as well. And then our first card, like I said, this is a take off of the card, one of the 5 of the cards that I sent to Becky for her friend. I just changed up the designer series paper and then the color of the cardstock I used for the greeting, and the linen thread. So very simple card. Again, this is kind of like a case off of what Amy Koonders did. And then this is a takeoff. If you look in the online store, if you bring up the Gathering Together suite, you will see you'll see kind of like this card in the samples. I just changed it up a little bit. And then of course, here's our one sheet wonder cards. All right, so I'm going to just tidy up really, really quick. Again, if you haven't already added your name to the spreadsheet, or you need assistance with that, please say something in the chat box. So instead of doing 3 cards, we are giving away 6 cards. Okay, why aren't you closing? Okay, kind of move some stuff. All right, so kind of move these out of the way, figure out how to do this. Okay. So, all right, so let me get my mouse and let's see what we got here. Well, where's my mouse? Okay, so we got Froggy, Sharon, Tracy, Yvonne, and Deborah. Is there anybody else? We only got 5 people. Well, hello to Froggy's hubby. Oh, and Don's on here. Hello, Don. Carol, okay. Whoops, wrong spot. Hold on, hold on. Go back. Okay, Carol's name is on there. All right, Froggy, Sharon, Tracy, Yvonne, Deborah, and Carol. Oh. It's okay. All right, so let's do that. Okay, why? Hold on. Why is this doing that? Hold on a second. We can always just put Froggy's hubby. Johnny. Okay, so we have Froggy and Sharon, Tracy, Yvonne, Deborah, Carol, Don, and Johnny. So let me, and just kind of clean this up a little bit. And let's see. Okay, so do we got everybody? She's making. No, they had to be mentioned, right? Okay, so let me take these names and let me add them to the wheel. Okay. We got everything. All right, so now let's see how we're gonna do this again. When your name comes up, card 1 and card 2, that's kind of like the obvious. But then when it comes to any of the one sheet wonder cards, I would say the best way to do it would be by the greeting. You got thankful for you, many thanks. Your friendship means the world to me, and expressing heartfelt gratitude. All right, so now let me bring in my laptop. You know, last Friday I didn't even realize until after I was done. I didn't even have my laptop plugged in. At least I had enough power to it, and it didn't die out on me while it was still live. Is that the reason why, Yvonne? Don asks you for cards sometimes and you get busy, and this is how he gets his cards. That's because, yes, you do a lot of cards in one shot, and then, of course, most times you don't get them done in the same day. I think you're still working on cards that were what, over a year old? I'm waiting for the giggle. Hold on. There'll be that little bit of giggle. Okay, so let me kind of move these. Of course, I need to see right, so now, see, I told you there's the laugh. Okay, so here we go. So we got Froggy and Sharon, Tracy, Yvonne, Deborah, Carol, Don, and Johnny. Here we go. There's my pen. Sharon. Okay, so 1, 2, and then you got thankful for you, your friendship, many thanks, and expressing heartfelt. Whoa. Oh. The friendship one? Okay. All right, let me put this over there. Okay. And our next one. Deborah. Bring these all back in. And of course I'm covering up and I can't see what she's going to say. Thankful, expressing many thanks. So which one would you like, Deborah? The one with the DSP from the pack. So this one right here, card number 1, this one. Because this one has a little bit, the first one, okay. All right. Trying to move you guys out of the way. All right. Johnny. Okay, Froggy. Which one would he like? Oh, let me bring the cards back in. Card number 2. So this one right here. Okay. So Froggy, everything's the same, right? Address, last name, all the same? Okay. All right, so now we got the rest of the one sheet wonders. Okay. And okay. Okay, which one, Don? So you got expressing heartfelt gratitude, thankful for you, and many thanks. Which one? This one? The expressing heartfelt gratitude? Okay. You got it. All right, so we got two more. You're welcome. Tracy. So we have many thanks. And whoa, I just knocked everything over. Yeah, good job, good job. Okay, come on, mouse. So many thanks and thankful for you. Everything went flying. The thankful. Oh, okay. So thankful and where is, okay, and send it to Terry. Okay, got it. So now our last one is the many thanks. So it's between Yvonne and Carol. Carol. Okie dokie. So we got all of the cards. Okay, not bad, not bad, considering everything that we had created tonight. So thank you everybody for joining me. Definitely made everything that's been going on, it definitely made things a lot better. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Um, let's see. Again, what do I want? I do have my newsletter that I did send out with what's going on in September. So if you would like to receive my monthly newsletter, the link for that is in the description. Um, let's see, typically I only send like one a month, but like so far this month I did send out two because we did have that stamp sale that happened yesterday. And so yeah, whenever they have these specials or promotions or whatever, they don't really tell us in advance. So also, if you had liked the video, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. All that helps in not only growing the channel, but it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business too. And I truly appreciate it. So, the next time that I see you guys, it will officially be fall. I gotta look. I think I know it's probably tomorrow, the day after or something. So I know it's really, really soon. So happy fall, y'all. Um, and wherever you may be, please be safe and have a wonderful weekend and be blessed, everyone. And I will see you next week. Bye bye.